All right. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. We are super excited to be here, and we have a great interviewee today. I have my wonderful friend and co host, Kurt Anderson. How are you doing today, Kurt?
Sammy Joe, my goodness gracious, what a privilege to hang out and learn about this wonderful, amazing, incredible, delicious Alaska manufacturer. I cannot wait to dig into this conversation.
Perfect. And for those that don't know, we have Chelsea on the line. Chelsea is a lifelong Alaskan and lover of the wilderness. She has been a co owner of Foraged and Found, a local manufacturer, since 2019 and has worked previously in sales, logistics, and the nonprofit sector. When she is not foraging, Chelsea enjoys dancing, backpacking, traveling, and yoga. So, hi, Chelsea. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Perfect. So we can dive right into some questions. We're going to get some great tips and strategies from a local entrepreneur and how the business got started. So first question I want to ask is, can you tell us a little bit about Forage and Found and how it all began?
Yeah, Foraged and Found. So Jen, my business partner, she started the business. She had been working on a yacht that caters to tourists in Alaska, and she kind of through that, working on the yacht, she was working as a chef. And so through that, she started to really fall in love with, all of the salmon and the halibut and the crab and the shrimp, and started to learn more and more about, not just the animals that you can eat and harvest in Alaska, but also the plants and the different berries and mushrooms. And her and a group of friends started, playing around with pickling bullwhip kelp and doing different things with it. And they did a booth at our local Blueberry Arts Festival, which the Arts Council here in Ketchikan puts on every summer. And it was very successful. So Jen took the idea back to her family that has some background in business and finance, and they put some numbers together and were like, okay, maybe this could be a viable business. So the business officially incorporated in 2018, and it's kind of slowly been a process from there of taking different steps and scaling up, and yeah, just moving from being kind of just a fun idea to being a commercial business.
Well, Chelsea, first off, curious minds want to know where are you traveling right now? We're trying to figure it out. Where are you traveling right now?
Oh, right now I'm in a car. So it was when I scheduled this, I had no idea what was going on, but today's my birthday. So my boyfriend flew into town and surprised me. And so last night we stayed the night on Deer Mountain with a bunch of our friends, and we just got helicoptered back down, and everything was just like a little bit hectic. So my plan was to be home during this interview, but I'm sitting in my car and my boyfriend's driving me home right now.
Well, how about boyfriend of the year right there? First off, right? So, hey, and he's not listening. What's your boyfriend's name?
Will.
Well, congratulations, Will. He's showing up all the boyfriends out there. And you know what? I can't sing, Sammy Joe. Maybe you can sing, but we wish you an amazing, incredible birthday. And what a privilege to spend your birthday with us,
Yes.
or us to spend it with you on your birthday. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, happy
know,
birthday, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh man, Sammy Joe, is this just awesome or what? Guys, this is what happened on lives is you get things like this. And so Chelsea, thank you. Happy birthday to you, my friend. So, hey,
Yeah.
so you gave a great story on Jen getting involved in the business. How about like what attracted you? Like, were you have a nonprofit background? Did you have an entrepreneurial itch that you were, like, was there a thirst like, hey, I want to get into business? What did that look like, and what attracted you to the business?
Yeah, I definitely. So I was executive director of the Ketchikan Chamber of Commerce for like 2.5 years, and while I did that, I really kind of like fell in love with entrepreneurship. I saw these different business owners like just doing everything they could to make the community better, and I just really came to appreciate business and see a different side of it that sometimes isn't the narrative you always hear. And I kind of knew that I wanted to do that. And then I worked in the corporate world for a while doing sales in the shipping industry. And that was really fascinating. And I learned even more. And again, I was dealing with business owners day in and day out and really hearing like what their different struggles were with doing business in Alaska and some of the different obstacles they have to face. And I just, I guess hearing their challenges made me want to get involved with it. I don't know. But Jen and I became friends because when I was working for a shipping company here in Ketchikan, you know, we take customers to lunch and help acquaint them to kind of how the system works, how shipping works, how shipping rates work, things like that. And so Jen and I got to know each other that way, kind of as a client customer relationship. And yeah, and then she started talking to me about the business, and I got really interested in it because through my involvement with the chamber, I got really involved with Southeast Conference. And so, you know, years ago, like in 2015, 2016, I remember Julie Decker with the Alaska Fisheries and Development Foundation talking about how, you know, mariculture is going to be, you know, a $1 billion business by, you know, this day, and just hearing it's like, wow, that's really cool. And so this seed of mariculture and like hearing that drum being beaten for like kelp and sea products and really expanding that like sector of Alaska industry, that had been in my mind for a long time, and I'd been involved with a lot of like the Alaskan NGOs and government entities that have been interested in that sector. And so then getting to know Jen and seeing her doing that, I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. She's like someone doing it. And then we started to become friends, and I kind of had this feeling. I was like, I feel like she's going to ask me to be part of the business. And then one day she was like, do you want to be part of the business? And I was like, yes. And then I realized years later, I'm like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but here we are.
Man, thank you for what a great story. And people love hearing the origin story. So boy, you filled a big gap, and thank you, Chelsea, for man, that was just what a wonderful story. Sammy, Joe, let's keep the party going, man. Let's keep the birthday party going. What's next on the list for the birthday girl?
So next, as we heard how you kind of got into the business, I'd be curious to know, like, what does a typical day look for you?
Oh, I mean, that's like really an impossible question to answer because it's, you know, aside from the manufacturing itself, I mean, the business itself, the way we run it is Jen and I pretty much do almost everything. You know, a lot of the other boots on the ground stuff we contract out with, like, you know, our design and that's just the way it goes. We have a warehouse that we use, and our warehouse, he handles all of our, you know, our Amazon fulfillment, our direct to consumer fulfillment and things like that. And so a lot of what Jen and I do is really managing like all aspects of the business. So it's everything, you know, we're doing like most of our own bookkeeping, you know, aside from like taxes and payroll and things like that. And, you know, we're running our Shopify website, and we're dealing with, you know, customer issues, you know, shipping doesn't arrive or something gets damaged, and, you know, just all of the day-to-day operations, planning, strategy, dealing with brokers, dealing with salespeople in the grocery industry. It's just, it's day-to-day, it's a lot. And so right now what we're focusing on is our pickles, and they are very seasonal. So in the summer we are harvesting, and that's our primary goal. And Jen and I are still going out on every harvest trip at this point and getting our hands in the water and harvesting the kelp ourselves. And so it's really crunch time with that right now. And then in the winter time, you know, a lot of what we can do is remote work. So we can work on our computers and be connected that way and kind of help manage different things. But day to day, I mean, it's really, it's a crapshoot, you know, because we're handling the sales, we're handling the logistics, we're handling, you know, the finances, and talking to potential investors and getting advice from different VCs of, you know, how can we get this to a point where people even want to look at us as a good investment, you know? So it's just, it's a lot.
Boy, you just summed up entrepreneurship in like, you know, 5 minutes or less right there, Chelsea. That was like, when you're an entrepreneur, man, it's not for the weary. You throw on whatever needs to be done, whatever fire needs to be put out, whatever task needs to be accomplished, you're there doing it. And so we commend you, we applaud you, and very inspiring. That was a great answer. So Sammy, Joe, let's keep it going. What's on your list next?
Perfect. So now that we've talked about, you know, it pretty much depends on the day that you kind of got your hands in everything, I'd be curious to know, in your opinion, what do you think the 3 most important habits to become a successful entrepreneur or manufacturer?
Wow.
The 3 most successful habits. It's a good question because I'm not always the best with keeping good habits, but I think that once since becoming involved with Foraged and Found, and since quitting my corporate job and like committing fully to try to living an entrepreneurial lifestyle, certain things have, by necessity, I've just like fine-tuned. It's like you get to a point where like you can't not do the things anymore, you know? And so for me, like I pretty much live by my calendar. Everything goes on my calendar. Social things go on my calendar. Work things go on my calendar. Reminders to myself go on my calendar. I just think like basic organizational things like that, like really help so much. And they're so important, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing 15 different things, you know? It can be hard sometimes to to find the time to do everything, you know? And so really, I've just gotten really good at dialing in my days and planning my weeks. And I think that's been huge. I think another thing that I feel I've really matured a lot with is like just having to deal with my own like mental wellness and anxiety. You know, I can be a pretty high strung person and a people pleaser. And, you know, I've worked in a lot of positions where it's very oriented towards making other people happy. And it's hard when you're in business because you can like always feel like you're failing yourself or failing your business partner, or that you're not doing enough. And you just have to like, boundaries for myself. I do have to like, at the end of the day, remember that this is my business, but it's not my life. And that can be really hard. And I think, you know, I think honestly, sometimes it's a little bit easier for me than it is for Jen, because she's the one that it was her idea. It was her brainchild, the whole business. And so there's a little bit of a difference there too. And sometimes I think it's good we balance each other out a little bit, because I can just be like, hey, at the end of the day, we're still friends. We still have each other. We're, you know, and you have to be able to have those conversations. So I say that would be the third thing is, if you're in business, especially with a business partner, it's like, I feel like it's made me a better communicator in all of my relationships. I mean, you just have to be able to have some really hard conversations. Like, we don't have money and we have bills, or, you know, what's the direction of the business, or being unsatisfied because it's like, you know, I thought our vision was something different and now we're going this way. So where are we really at? What page are we really on? So I think being able to have those conversations is also really important. So organization, having hard conversations, and just being able to surrender a little bit and say, hey, whatever happens, happens. Easier said than done.
Man. All right. Well, Chelsea, we have these little things each week. We come drop the mic moments, and that was just a massive drop the mic moment right there. That was so profound. That was brilliant advice. Man, I like, where was that advice when I was in my 20s, you know, young guy, young entrepreneur. So thank you for sharing, you know, your wisdom, your experience, and a couple of things I want to touch on real quick. You know, my notes, number one, I heard consistency in that organization, right? Consistency, organization, getting the calendar down. Number two, so profound, and oh, goodness gracious, love the mental awareness, the mental health. Boy, if you don't take care of yourself, like you're worthless as an entrepreneur. So I just love that you said that. And I love that you said the word maturity. That just really is a great sign of like your humility coming into things as an entrepreneur. And then the third thing you talked about, like, you know, the critical communication. You know, the critical communication is just so imperative, especially when you have a business partner, because it's not just about you. And I love what you said, like, hey, you know, Jen, this was Jen's brainchild. This is her baby. And you're coming in, and, you know, when you own a business, boy, it's emotional. Like you said, like, hey, we don't have money to pay the bills, or like, this is going great, or this isn't going so great. And like, just kind of like, how do you know, try to prevent that roller coaster ride, so you're not always up and down, but just kind of like, you know, how can we get through this journey together and just really be successful? So, boy, kudos to you. That was just so profound what you shared. So thank you. That was awesome. Sammy Joe, I'm gonna pop in with a quick question. I love your branding. I'm not a big branding guy. If you saw like how I dress, you know, my wife was like, hey, you can't wear that shirt anymore. You've been wearing it for like 20 years, right? So I'm not a big branding guy, but Chelsea, your branding is just, it pops. It's exciting. I love the fonts. I love the colors. It's like, it's, I don't know if you usually use this word for food. It's charismatic. Like you bring out a personality and a charm with your food. Can you just talk a little bit about the intent? I know I'm going a little bit off script here, Sammy Joe, but what I'd love to hear, like, I just think it's brilliant branding for a guy that really doesn't appreciate branding as much. I love your branding.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is a testament to Jen's marketing background and to like the collaborative effort. You know, again, it was one of Jen's friends that had designed our like original labels, the original labels we had when we were just a local Ketchikan product. And we wanted to like, you know, we wanted our new labels to harken back to that. So we thought it was important for them to have, you know, the pictures of the seaweed. And so now they have the kind of stylized, artistic tendrils of the bull kelp coming up the side of it. And the designer we worked with for our commercial labels, I mean, he, you know, we went back and forth. It was a whole process between him and Jen and I of really being like, you know, is this what we like? Is this the right font? And so we took it really seriously. And that's been huge for us, is to really take our marketing seriously. And right from the beginning, Jen went after one of the value-added producers grants that the USDA offers. And the scope of work was a marketing project. And so being able to access those grant funds really helped us be able to pay for some of those things like good design and stuff that sometimes a startup business might not be able to do. And so I think that was pretty fortunate.
Awesome. Well, tell Jen, congratulations. And so for anybody catching this live or catching this on replay, boy, go and check out their website. It is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If you're, direct to consumer or selling a consumer product, boy, these guys have really set the bar high. So check out their website, go and buy their products. Better yet, just go on the shelf and grab it and bring it home. And then you can admire that branding right on your shelf at home. So Sammy Joe, what's next on your list?
Perfect. So next question, I'd just be curious to hear your thoughts on what you think is the biggest challenge facing your industry right now.
I mean, I guess our industry specifically is, you know, a grocery item. I mean, the grocery industry is just, it's super challenging. It's very, pardon me, it's very, in a lot of ways, unfriendly to startups, and the barriers to entry can be really high. You know, there's a lot of big players that kind of really control most aspects of it, and that can be challenging. And it's just, you know, it's not bad. It is what it is. And so for us specifically, that can be hard. And then for us specifically as an Alaskan business, I mean, it's always the same thing. We're geographically isolated from the rest of the country. And so, you know, things like shipping costs affect us more than they do other places. There's just less economy of scale. And so we've really had to make some hard decisions in our business in order to deal with some of them. So both for being an Alaskan business and for the industry we're in specifically, I feel like we do have some very unique challenges as a startup that can be hard. I mean, manufacturing, often it's like you feel like you're spending 95 cents to make $1, you know, and that can be challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Chelsea, I used to have a running joke. I'm like, when I was a young entrepreneur struggling like crazy, I'm like, man, I was selling my dollars for 97 cents. And I'm like, that's not a really good formula. So exactly. It gets very challenging. Sammy Joe, let's hit it up. What you've got one more question for Chelsea today?
Yeah. Perfect. So thank you for sharing your challenges and also what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And so for a business that's starting up, I was just curious, like, what advice would you give to a new startup business or entrepreneur in the state of Alaska?
I mean, I really think just keep a good dialogue with yourself and really know why you're doing it. Have a good why, have good purpose. Know that it's going to be hard, and also know that like every time you think you have those questions answered, it's probably going to change, and it can change. And just to just to know what your vision is and try to hold that vision as best you can, because sometimes it can be really hard. And again, and if you have a business partner, same thing, making sure you're on the same page of where do we want to be in 3 years and 4 years and 5 years. I mean, those things are huge and they're really important conversations to have. So kind of knowing what your end goal is, but being open to it changing. I'm not sure. It's, I think that's the best advice. And just to know that it's, you know, nothing's an overnight success. It can be a lot of work and it can be very challenging, but you will learn a lot about yourself and you'll become a better person for it. I truly believe that. Or maybe an angry person. I don't know.
That was so good. Nobody's an overnight success, right? Nobody sees all the blood, sweat, and tears. Nobody sees you guys out like digging out the kelp from underneath the rocks and what have you, right? And so, it's a long game. Entrepreneurship is a long game. So we're going to wind down, Chelsea. So a few things that we want to unpack. First off, thank you. This was absolutely wonderful. Now, is Will still within earshot? Or is he gone?
He is.
So tell your Uber driver, Will, we said thank you very much for taking we need to do this more often. It's kind of like the comedians and when they doesn't Jerry Seinfeld do this, the comedian in cars or whatever. This was wonderful. Next time, Chelsea, we're gonna have you on the show. Could you and Will be in the helicopter? We would love to do a live stream with you from the helicopter. Maybe I'm just putting it out there, but first off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happiest of birthdays to you. Secondly, thank you for sharing your entrepreneurial journey. You are such an incredible inspiration. We just wish you and Jen monster success. Just keep providing that wonderful salsa, those great pickles, and you guys are going to continue crushing it. Sammy Jo, feedback, takeaways, what do you have for us today?
No, this was incredible, Chelsea. We so appreciate you being able to take the time on your birthday to come on and share all of your tips and different challenges. I know a lot of people out there, there are manufacturers in the state and they are facing the same challenges as you. And so sometimes it can be really relatable to hear it come from a manufacturer, but knowing that you can do it and you can prevail and you can just gotta stay on that path and be okay to roll with the changes. But as long as you have that same end goal and to have those tough conversations, I think it was really, really eye-opening and a lot of manufacturers would appreciate hearing it. So I really appreciate your time coming on here and sharing it. I thought that this was super fun and hopefully we can have you on here again.
Yes, anytime. I love this. So yeah, it's good.
This is awesome. Well, Chelsea, happy birthday. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for sharing your lunch with us today. And Sammy Jo, thank you. I love that we do these live streams every other week. Tell your friends, family, your pets, your dog, everybody out there, come hang out with the Alaska MEP every other Thursday. Take us away, Sammy Jo.
Perfect. Kurt, you said it all. We do these every other Thursday. So I so appreciate that. We'll have a wonderful next interviewer that'll come up every other Thursday. So 2 Thursdays from now, from 12 to 12:30. So it just takes up an hour of your time, but I think you'll hear some really great tips and tricks. One other shout out, we do have a webinar coming up. It's going to be a fantastic sales webinar all about sales strategy. Again, it'll be in the lunch hour of 12 to 1 with Wesley Greer, and that'll happen on August 29th. So if you guys can join, we'd love to see you there as well. And thank you for spending your Thursday with us. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chelsea. And thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.